Hey fam, what's going on? This is Jessica Pickens. Welcome to Pickens Realities, our Blended Family Truths podcast.
Welcome back to Pickens Realities.
Everybody got here but
Blended Family Truths. I am Jayla, the elite of them all, the oldest daughter, the matriarch.
You said that's not accurate.
Yeah.
Well, we have to. Let's give a proper introduction. Let's give a proper introduction.
Round of applause.
Actually, yeah, kind of not a guest because he is a resident family member. He just don't live. He's the
I was about to say
only
resident.
child that does not live in the
guest.
area anymore. He's not a guest to the
I
family.
was like, if he a resident, rent due at the first of the month.
Okay, go ahead, Dominic.
Yeah. So it's Dom, and yeah, I guess
I
guess I'm the self-proclaimed golden child.
Clock the T.
Yeah.
Clock the T.
And so
Clock the T.
I don't know what they really be
third
talking about.
oldest son. Third oldest.
Best looking. And yeah, so that's who I am.
Welcome.
Hey, Chad.
Man, the day we have everybody on the show.
Good Lord. We gonna have no cheers.
Referees.
We gonna have to meet outside. Have space.
Jalen's gonna walk in.
Have space between the chairs.
Right.
It'll be the Pickens family blended family realities reunion.
I was just thinking
It'll be the reunion. That's what it is. Oh,
Yes.
my bad. I am Tyrone the dad.
Dirty Red.
That is
Well,
not to be spoken. You know what?
Congratulations.
You
There we go. Uh-huh.
There will be no talk of that.
Well, you know,
Might not be.
Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself.
I am Jessica. I am the mom and the wife. Oh my gosh.
PHAT, pretty hot
And let it be known, she's not a stepmom. She's not a stepmom. So
True that.
Thank you.
True that.
Thank you, babe. Thank you. We'll get into that. We kind of talked about that. Jayla and I did before. But today's topic, what we're going to get into, are you going to make it through this? You going to make it this morning?
Yes,
oh, okay.
yes.
It's a day, y'all. I'm just saying. I don't know what's going on this morning, but, you know, I'm going to need y'all to focus. Lord have mercy.
Salivate. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Is y'all going to make Calvin's job difficult today? He going to have to be cutting and editing? What's going on?
he been doing this since 16. So he active, right?
No, there's nothing to cut.
Everyone.
There's nothing to cut.
Welcome. Today, again, welcome to Pickens Realities and Blended Family Truths, where we talk about our blended family truths as we will be 22 years in. Woohoo! This coming December. We won't, I got in trouble last time, y'all. Folks do. You don't have to say the whole thing every single time. So we'll find our rhythm and our groove on how much we reiterate. Go back and watch episode 1, part 1 and part 2. And you can understand the history of how Ty and I met, and were married within less than 90 days. Woo! Again, disclaimer. Don't try that at home, y'all. Don't try it at home. By the grace of God, with a lot of hard work, we're still here. And we have our 6 children in total, plus extras that we also claim as family. And so today we are going to get into a touchy, sensitive topic. I know for me, I can't speak for anybody else. Probably for 2 of our total 7, when we include Courtney in our children count. So glad to have Dom here today. But we are going to talk about different parenting styles, the difference in parenting styles between the Mr. here and myself.
Mine is perfect.
Yeah.
See, y'all, see what I'm talking about? Nonstop. So, and Jayla is now hiding her face at that comment. Yes. So put the cards down from in front of your face. So we're gonna get right into it. And what you got for us today, Jayla? Again, y'all, we don't know what these questions are. So
I
buckle
paid her $2 to let me know what they are.
What'd you dream about last night? Okay, so I did a little bit of research, and I'm going to read off 4 parenting styles. And I want you all to tell me which parenting styles you think that you have. And
The good one.
we're going to tell you what we believe that you have.
Ooh,
Okay?
ooh,
Truth is a bit of medicine.
ooh.
Okay. Authoritarian. Firm style that leaves no room for negotiations.
For
All
real?
in my head went ding, 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 ding.
For
I'm
real?
sorry.
For real?
Okay.
You stop there.
Okay.
Is that a shade over there?
My bad.
Is that an umbrella?
Let her go.
Authoritative, a style that combines warmth with control. Permissive, a style that encourages a child to call for help when they get themselves in a dangerous situation.
That ain't you. Next.
And neglectful, a style characterized by a lack of emotional involvement and supervision.
Oh, so that's all four?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. So the
Authoritarian,
uh-huh.
which is firm with
Yeah,
no
no, I
negoti-
got that.
So
Authoritarian.
authoritarian, authoritative,
Authoritative. Remind me of that definition.
warmth with control.
Warmth with control. Okay.
Permissive. You lying to yourself. You trying to figure out which scenario.
Yeah.
It's me
Yes.
right here.
Like,
Like I said, ding, 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 ding. Number one. Go ahead.
Permissive style that encourages your children to come to you when they put themselves in dangerous situation. And neglectful, characterized by a lack of emotional involvement and supervision.
I think I can be all three.
All of which three? Three of which four?
The
Authoritative,
Yeah, authoritative,
authoritarian, and permissive.
yeah, because I've done a bit, of all of them. I'm warm. So remember, you know what?
Not her asking us that we gonna be okay.
I'm 97.8 degrees. I'm warm. So remember when we were on Buckhorn, I used to give you guys a buzzword. I said, if I'm doing something, you can come in the room, turn the light off, and then we could talk about anything. It's a safe space. Remember that?
No.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Oh, come on. You don't remember
This young man live on the camera.
I remember that one, big dog.
Hey. You can get off camera in a minute, player. All right. So
First plan failed.
Turn the light off. Like, hold up. Gee. I don't
No, but
remember this.
I do remember you telling us we do have safe space to come if we if we need something to talk about or have something to talk about, we can always come talk. But the turning the light off and it's a safe
Yeah, I don't know
room.
about that one either.
whatever. So I think a blow the candle out, whatever it was. I think
He's still trying to make us remember what he
y'all go remember. Remember, Grandma used to be like,
Focus.
"I am focusing. I'm getting." You know
That's
what?
a parental style. No,
I have to say that. What was number one again?
authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, neglectful.
What's the definition of authoritative?
Warmth with control.
No, I'm sorry. The first one again.
Authoritarian is
Non-negotiable.
you leave no room for negotiation.
My way or the highway.
Honestly, I will say that I was authoritative in the beginning, just trying to make certain that, and I use the word
You
control.
mean authoritarian.
Authoritarian. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Right.
Authoritarian is leaving no room for negotiation.
That one.
Dictator.
Yes.
That's what essentially what it means.
Can y'all let him finish?
My bad.
We still on number one. We still on the first person.
So I think for me, the first one defines who I used to be. I was in my mind, in retrospect, I was trying to make certain that I did not lose my children. Thinking about how I was raised, thinking about the time and just all the different things that I was going through. My mental was, if I keep them in a box and if I tell them this is how it is, there is no room, you got to do this, that would help save them. Raising at that time 3 young men and then 4 when Jess and I got together.
I'm So I'm like, dang, I really am one of your sons. So I was thinking, he's talking about me.
Who was a 3?
Me, Dom, and Eric.
Right. So raising.
What?
Oh, there was only 3 at the beginning. I'm
Well,
tripping.
I'm like, what? You had 2 boys
Yeah,
and a girl before we got together.
My bad.
You was a boy.
Referring to.
You was a boy.
Oh
Dad-
my gosh! I
dad
thought he was
say-
talking
I
about
don't care.
Dom,
On the
Eric, Dom, and
record, while you're
Jalen.
here, Dad calls me his strongest son. Amen. Thank you. Clock
Move
it.
right along. Move right along.
Clock it.
So, but for real, having 3 sons, and then even a young daughter, with my sons, making certain that we did.
Dad.
You're referring to when we first got together.
Right.
Yes.
So,
He's talking
okay.
about
so I'm
Eric,
vacillating.
Jalen, and Dominic.
So I'm saying
Clarify.
in the beginning when
of
there
the
was-
marriage. That's what
right
he's talking
before the
about.
marriage,
Before
there was 2 boys and Jalen,
Okay.
and then after the marriage, there were 3 boys, 1 girl,
Okay.
which
Yes.
made 4. And so
Out
my
the gate,
point
yes.
of all of that,
Until the
because y'all
babies.
all in my mix here, I'm trying to make cookies, y'all making cornbread, but it was more about trying to make certain that I did not lose my sons to the streets. And so creating this box to put them in my opinion, because I had been out there doing whatever I was doing, and I wanted to make certain that they did not go through what I went through and have some of the distractions and pulls that I had. And then for my daughter, just again, trying to make certain that she felt loved and that she felt respected and that she knew, I gave her first set of roses. I was trying to put everybody in this box for safety purposes, not for harm, but in my mind, that's how it was. That's how I felt at that time, trying to keep it all moving, keep it all together.
So moving. You were saying
And
that
you ain't
was
got to keep
what
doing
you
your
were
lips like that.
at the beginning. So what do you believe as time progressed? Like, what's your parenting style?
I think as it progressed, my goal was to try to soften up, but I was a bit stubborn. But again, I think you said before, Jayla, that you were able to take a breath at some point, or no, you said that I was able to take a breath and relax, when Jess and I got married. And I think that I did to a certain degree.
when?
For real, you gonna do me like that?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, like, we're talking about parenting styles.
Right,
You think you took a breath and relaxed when?
Lord have mercy.
With Dawson and Gabby.
That one.
That one. Because
Yeah,
I was trying to do it better the second time.
Right. But that's still the real parenting toddler that was still down, like
Yeah, I mean,
that's within like the last
no,
5-6 years.
no.
When it came to Gabby and Dawson, he was a completely, let me not say a completely different person, but a completely different person.
Well, but also as they got older, they started doing sports, and so you gotta.
And it was still different.
But you gotta remember though,
It's
again,
different circumstances. It's fair. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm trying to. I'm. There was no roadmap that I had. I was disconnected with my biological dad. I was in a tumultuous relationship with my bonus dad at that time. And so I really didn't have a roadmap of the right way to do this. And so without
I don't
having
know that one exists, but that's-
without having the roadmap, I was in survival mode, trying, as I said before, trying to make certain that my children, it's something that I said to the boys once before, you will never have to do anything I've ever done in order to have a good quality of life. And so that's why I was driving that way, because I knew if I didn't, from my perspective, what the outcome might be. I didn't want them on the block. I didn't want them doing X, Y, and Z. I didn't. And so for me, doing it the way I did it, in my mind, helped keep them away from what I was getting out of, what I was running from. So, you know, in retrospect, it wasn't, when I look at it, it's kind of like watching a movie and then you're like, man, that's what this meant. And sometimes that's how I look back. You know, I'm like, I should have done this. I could have done that. Why did I do this? I shouldn't have been so hard on that, you know. And now, you know, I like to hug my boys. I'm happy when I see them, but
They don't live in your house.
boy, how you doing, boy? Good to see you, boy. When you leaving?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's me.
Okay, Mom.
Authoritative, I think, was my primary parenting
Oh,
style.
y'all had it rough. Y'all had it rough.
It wasn't, and oddly enough, I gotta stop saying I'm working on that, y'all. So
You was going to say
similar,
Similarly.
like.
yes. Like you were saying, oddly enough, the part of wanting to be in control was not about trying to do harm to anybody or just for the sake of being a control freak. It was about wanting to protect the kids in a way that I had not been protected.
Mm-hmm.
From a perspective of I didn't have rules growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't. And so the lack of parental boundaries and interaction in an appropriate manner. I'm not talking about from when I was little bitty, y'all. And again, my mother's she actually wants to come have a discussion about how things went. And so I'm excited.
We got shoes, but go on.
I'm excited that we will. I cannot with y'all today. We will have that conversation. But to your point, the intention behind, I believe I was more authoritarian. No, the second one.
Authoritative.
Thank you. Authoritative, because I was open for negotiation. I was not as stern as you. And we will say, oh, really?
Go on.
Like, so the reality is this. You were softer on the girls and I was softer on the boys.
That's my job.
And that's my job. So for me, as Jayla and I have discussed in a previous episode, y'all got to go back and check that one out.
And subscribe. Like us.
Turn our post notifications on while you're at it. Say something. No, you're kidding.
The natural inclination to want to figure out more so how do I provide a roadmap for Jayla to protect her. So the same thing you just said, hopefully from a lot of the very not healthy things that I was exposed to, allowed to do, and chose to do, all of the above, right, was the goal. Didn't particularly work that way or turn out that way, but that was the intention. I know I wasn't permissive or neglectful. I don't believe that I was the first one.
Authoritarian.
The dictator type stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually, I would have been even more I would have leaned more into the negotiating side of myself had I had more time, or had we been able to figure out how do you discuss your parenting styles up front. To be quite honest, not having my father in my life, not ever having a father figure growing up, and of course my dad was alive. He just was not a parenting. He didn't fulfill the role of being a parent. He didn't. When I got married, I didn't know what to do. I was just so happy to have a father for Jalen. I was happy to have a man in the house. I was happy that Ty was there. So it was actually conflictual for me. I didn't know how to handle when I didn't agree with him and I didn't agree with his parenting styles. And I've suffered behind that too. Because it wasn't until later, even with Dawson and Gabby, where I finally stood up and was like, no, we're not, that's what we're not going to do. On several occasions when I felt things were going too far and made me uncomfortable. I didn't do that in the beginning. And that's, again, something that I wish I would have done differently. So there were a lot of dynamics that played into, had we had information, had we sat down and, what type of parent are you? Had we had Jayla and some cue cards and definitions up front and talk about it on the front end, things may have been different. So we just, I think, to your point, fell into these roles based on past experiences, which, to be honest, weren't good.
Yeah.
And really weren't healthy. And again, not that we had horrific lives. We just had a lot of... We lived our entire lives. A lot of it was all about survival mode.
Yeah, I was thinking of how to say it, but it was like
separately,
unscripted.
You know what I'm saying? So
it was just like scene 5. What do we do? I don't know. You know, we just need to survive. And I definitely agree with your statement that there was no roadmap. There was.
Again,
it was just survival.
And I'll say, I think in your mom, I know one thing about both of our mothers. The love was there, and I'm very grateful for that. Because if you don't have that, things just go way left very fast. So even though there are some instances where Bobby was a little dangerous when she went to discipline. so
was Zola.
But the fact that...
Remember, she used to keep that long spoon in her purse?
Man, she got everybody with that spoon.
While driving.
That's exactly what my mom went to.
I am grateful for the foundation of never doubting whether or not my mom loved me.
I agree with that.
I'm very grateful for that.
I agree with that. On my side, as well.
And so even though we ran into a lot of walls because... You have to combine, now we know, love with structure and appropriate boundaries, and then figuring out what Jayla's about, getting into it. And thank you for taking the time to even come up with the context and coming up with the different styles. So now I'm extremely interested and anxious to hear
the rest.
What y'all think. No, now Jayla's she's gonna tell us, or where do we go from here?
Dominic, what do you believe? Your point of view, what mom and dad's parenting styles are.
And now remember, we're sitting here.
Yeah, and I got a mean elbow.
I was gonna say, remember, you don't gotta stay with them. Yeah. You can go.
Not if I put,
what you gotta say.
Not if I put sugar in this tank, he ain't going nowhere.
Man.
Sugar.
I'll start with that. I think you know what it is.
I don't.
Authoritarian. For sure.
But why?
Because that's how you were.
Yeah,
I'm talking to my man.
Let him speak, Shelly.
Yeah, I think it stems from you just wanting us to have that different lifestyle than you had. And it just came off like you had to be tough on us because you didn't want us to be out in the streets. You didn't want us to have to do certain things, but it was like you felt like you knew what was best for everybody. So you just like, all right, this is what it is. And if it isn't how I want it or how I want it to go, like we're going to have an issue. We're going to have a problem. But, thankfully, I had the opportunity to learn from 2 older brothers. And I got to see like, all right, I didn't have to deal with it the way that they dealt with those things. So I was like, all right, I'm about to be chill. I'm going to be a little submissive, but, I got to do what I got to do. You feel me?
Sneaky pickle.
Do you remember the time in the kitchen at the island when we had that very conversation? When I was asking you, I'm like, I never have a problem out of you. I'm like, how do you? We don't have no issues. And he said this very thing. He said, because I watched what they did.
Yeah.
It's like, I ain't doing
And
that.
then slowly goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there
out
was
the
some
gym.
stuff going on that I didn't know about until you was about out the house.
Yeah, sneaky pickles.
That's how you keep it.
Yeah. And so, just that authoritarian, I think it ultimately did help, because you had 3 little knucklehead kids, or sons rather. And, we just had to learn what it was to have like that discipline and structure in the household. Because once we stepped outside, we didn't see it in like our friends' homes or even just, different things going on in life. We didn't see that. And so I think it benefited us and people saw like that discipline that we had in our lives. And so even though it was tough sometimes, getting whoopings or, it was a different time, you feel me? So we were allowed to get whoopings.
Bricks, cans. No.
Right. Today's kids.
Stand at the corner, Billy.
Yeah, but we got to see like that structure, and it was beneficial for us because even now, even though we have our different things going on, we know what it is to be disciplined and dish out discipline when discipline is needed. So it was great for us, for the young man.
Oh, it was great. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because you gotta think
Hindsight.
about it. Yeah, you gotta think about it. Like we know what it is to be disciplined. We know what it is to have a male figure that is in our lives. And I think if you would have took the route of, Dominic, Eric, and Jalen, like, you guys, what do you guys want to do today? It's like, no, y'all gonna get up, y'all gonna do these things so that y'all know what it is to do them. Then you gotta pay to play. You feel me? So, yeah, that's how I view it.
And Mom.
You did good.
Some days I wonder.
Yeah.
And I wonder.
I would say for Mom, I think you were accurate in what you were trying to do with authoritative. You were firm, but you wanted us to understand. But I just think because we were a blended family, there were times where your approach just wasn't what we were used to in a mom, and it didn't come off as, you were being firm, but you wanted to hear us out. It was just, we only saw the firm side. So it felt like you were more of an authoritarian than authoritative. Just because you're type A, like you own your business and you have a plan, and I felt like from A to Z, it was all lined up. And if we didn't like fit in that plan, it was, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And even though you tried to talk to us, it didn't come off like you were trying to hear us out. It felt like you was just on us, you feel me? And so even though we weren't getting beat up by Dad, we were like, listen, Chad, it's not beat up, you feel me?
Right.
But it's like, he was on us, you feel me? And he was
Well, he was on y'all from the male side. Yeah. Like all the logistical things, the life things, the school, the college, the what are you going to do, da-da-da-da. All of that fell in my lane and who I was and what my responsibilities were. So, but keep going. I don't want to cut you off. Yeah.
No, I don't think I was ready. Any of us were ready for that, honestly. It was just very different. Like we came in and I still remember you're like, you guys don't have to call me Mom. You can call me Miss Jessica. It was.
And then this young man goes say, no, you call her Mom.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did. Because again, that's the box. If you don't, in my opinion, and I'm going to give this back to you, but if you don't create that structure and say, no, this is how it is, then it potentially runs off the rail. And if you're trying to create that connectivity, and I didn't know that I was, because I think it has benefited us, now.
We learned. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
We learned a lot of information here recently on our escapade. That
Wait,
I
let's land
remember.
the plane so we can get to the next one.
No, I got you, but I remember letting them know, giving them an option.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I knew that you took the option away and told them.
I took them
I thought that it was voluntary.
I took him in a closet and was like, look, This how we gonna run this play. You go down to the tree. No, I'm just playing. Anything else you have?
Yeah, but even though you were like strict and stern on us, that benefited us too, because we got to see it from a mother standpoint of like you have to be attentive and really pay attention to that detail. And early on, like a majority of our childhood, we felt like you being honest like that, it came off as more authoritarian than authoritative. But looking back on it, I view it as authoritative because you did try to hear us out. You did try to, Dominic, why didn't you think about this? Why didn't you do that? But honestly, it just felt like you were attacking just because I wasn't used to it from just that standpoint. And having somebody on my heels like that the whole time.
You mean because that wasn't how you were with your mom? Or just in general, even because you're saying your dad's structure in place, you received it from man to man versus when I did it, it came off. When you're saying you weren't used to it, what is the frame of reference? Are you weren't used to it because that's not what your interaction was with your mother? And the time when you guys were, when you were with her and at her house, or compared to I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I would say your attention to detail is still almost uncanny. You don't see it in a lot of women. And so you picking and probing and consistently doing
why is
that.
it picking and probing?
Because as a kid, that's what it felt like.
Okay.
You're just, you're picking and probing at me. And I'm like, dang, bro, I said
Well, you didn't talk, Dominique.
I did. Well,
This is true.
You did not talk.
True.
Do you remember what I used to say to you? I say, Dominic, I do not have time to tie you to a chain and drag you behind a truck to make you tell me what's going on. You didn't talk. So I would have to continuously, probe you to try to get the information.
This is my truth.
No, agreed. Absolutely.
Touche.
Absolutely. But I'm just giving context on, particularly with Dom, you didn't, even with the other kids, even with the challenges Jayla and I had, she would typically respond. You know what I'm saying? I ask her a question and she would respond. I would sometimes ask you questions and you would just sit and look at me and say nothing for a long time. And we would go around in this circle literally for 30, 45 minutes. I'd be like, Dominic, Dom. So you see what I mean? Like, what are you supposed to do in that instance when you're a parent and you're trying to extract information?
Let me go.
But keep going. Okay. So, Jayla, what's your perspective?
Were you done?
Are you good?
Yeah, I would just say, like, you guys still did a great job. Even though it was tough on us. You feel me? Yeah. So appreciate you too.
Appreciate you.
Can I get that $200
You look like you
now?
finna cry.
Hold on, let me. It's in pennies.
Nah, you
It's in
good.
pennies. I believe that both of you had a sense of authoritarian, authoritative, and permissive.
See, top 3.
Authoritarian, for sure. Definitely, agree with Dom. It was what it felt like, not necessarily what it was. The approaches. I know for me and you, it was more like a power struggle in a sense. Releasing, what's the word I want to use? Releasing, in a weird way, even though I was a child, releasing control over my situation to you and letting you be who you are was a hard thing for me. And then, with Dad, it was essentially the same thing, releasing control and your new stages as a married person. Authoritative, you both were definitely very authoritative, for sure. Dad, it was definitely, of course you had a soft spot, but I feel like after I feel like after you started telling the boys, yeah, it's up. Y'all can get on that with her now. Like, y'all can hit her back. I think it was up from there. No, I'm serious. Like, I think it was up from there. I think the playing field was level. Everybody got the same discipline after that point.
You have to explain. You have to explain.
Basically,
she was trying to hit on us. Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Or let Dom explain. Yeah.
The fact that, I can, do my big one.
Wait.
Not get...
No. You have to explain. No, people have to understand. The boys were not allowed.
I'm telling them. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Basically, I was able to do my big one on them and not get in trouble because they couldn't hit me. They couldn't touch me.
It got to the point where I was ready to like choke her out one day. Like, Dad, I can't hit her. She keep hitting me.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I'll never.
So Jayla would mess with her brothers because they would get in trouble,
right,
by their dad.
But it was a point where, like, my dad was like probably smoking a cigarette.
And he's never smoked, right? But
doesn't matter. Like, and I felt my chest start closing.
No, you know what it was for real though. You get to a point where you understand. You could see you was operating in a serious spirit of manipulation.
So,
she was like,
so there was one instance before we got together. Eric came and told on Jayla, and he was like, Dad, Jayla did X, Y, and Z, and so Eric was on his knees watching TV. And I was coming out of the kitchen. I turned the corner. She had her fist balled up. She hit him in the eye. Don't tell on me again. I'm like, ooh. I turned around. And went back.
See that?
You remember that? Eric was like,
you turned around. You didn't say nothing.
But I ain't want no smoke.
See what I mean? She hooked
that bin.
She hooked
my
daddy. She hooked Eric. He's like, oh. That was hilarious. She was standing right to the side of him. She said, "You told on me." Look, she's like, oh my goodness. But anyway, go ahead.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. No, but I'll never forget the time Dom knocked the wind out of me, boy, in that basement. Oh, Jesus. Anyways, but authoritative because it was a sense of warmth. I feel like that's probably why I indulge in telling y'all about certain stuff, because y'all did give me the chance to talk and be open, but I do feel like there was like a lot of control. Mm-hmm. And like I said previous, like I'm sure if I didn't have certain controls, I'd probably have like 15 kids, be somebody baby mama, be working at wherever, but it's good to have that control. From Dad, it was more so like it was a normality coming from him because that's what we knew. Like even my mom, like I feel like my mom
other side
treated us how my dad treated us, especially on the disciplinary side. They were both very stern in their discipline, but when they disciplined us, it was the same. So it wasn't really like such a big difference when we would go to our mom's house versus when we're at home. Mm-hmm. But then with you, I feel like with you, you're more... With my parents, they're more disciplined physical. Mom is disciplined mental. Mm. That's what I feel. Because she was more prone to, I'm going to take this away from you. You're not going to be able to go here. And that'd be like, dang.
Well, yeah, because you can get your butt toe off and you be good in about 30 minutes. And you like, all right, cool, 45. Let me endure this and get it over with. When it was trying to find...
You used to take practice swings. You used to.
That's why the line whoopers, we got to be first. We got to be first, Lucius.
Y'all, for real,
you gotta get that warm-up.
I'm like, oh my God.
He's either first or last. He's tired by the last one. He is his groove.
And that Malachi's traumatized. Oh my goodness. Okay.
He's like, no, okay. Not the whooping, not
y'all,
the whooping.
Life be lifing all day. So we gonna have to take him upstairs in a second.
Okay.
And hold on, we gonna break first. I need to use the restroom real quick anyway, but let's take him. If he's starting his coughing fits, he's gonna have to go upstairs.
So we had to remove Malachi because he needed a cough drop.
He's old. Oh my God. He did for real. He needed his cough medicine, but he ain't got it yet. He had to go upstairs, y'all.
He's like,
Y'all, Malachi is a resident family member. He's
been with us for 17
years.
If he go, I don't know how I'm gonna act.
Lord, take me instead.
I'm hopping in
Y'all
the
don't
casket.
even know.
he hopping in the
Seriously.
casket with him. He be like,
No, right. He be laying there, and I be trying to see if his chest, if he's breathing. So I'll do this. I'll walk up on him. I'll be like, and he look at me like, and I'll be like,
you
yo,
on?
He's like, I'm
trying to
sleeping.
see. Like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay.
my bad.
So, finishing my statement, yes, mom takes things away. Dad is more physical. I feel like there's an equal balance.
Was.
Very much so.
He know better now.
Was. Because now he a little baby chicken. But when it came to Dawson and Gabby, that I feel like
Who was y'all?
right.
Like,
I feel like it just
Tired. That's who we was.
Right.
yeah.
We was a bit exhausted, and they're different kids.
Well,
They're different kids. You could.
They different kids, all right.
Wait,
I
wait,
raised
wait.
my-
Your dad could look at Gabby,
She'd
and
fall-
she would fall out, big old bust out, and big old
Like Humpty
alligator
Dumpty. She'd
tears.
be like,
You didn't have to raise your voice. You didn't have to pick up a belt, a spoon, a straw.
But that's
and Gabby was gonna.
Gabby and Dawson grew up in a 2-parent household.
Well,
They were served life. You know, we more or less like we were growing up with you guys. So
Yeah,
it
that's a fair
wasn't like
point.
you guys had them and you guys were established. You had some stability. It was easier to go through certain things. So in my personal opinion, because I am a mom, I understand like you're not having to, worry as much when you had Gabby and Dawson. Don't get me wrong, there's still stuff going on, but I'm saying worry as much from the aspect of being a single parent, having to raise your children on your own, wondering who's going to watch who, like
And we learned, to your point.
Right,
I agree with you, but
different.
we also learned at the beginning, I think, in our heads, which was completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
One size fits all. When y'all were you top four, y'all have a lot in common, but you're very different individuals.
yeah.
Yeah.
And different stuff. It's not a one size fit all when it comes to kids and what works from a discipline perspective. And again, you could beat the bricks off of one kid and they be standing there like, okay, you done yet? You know what I mean? Yeah. and
That's a super.
and they be like, okay, you done yet? Like, we good now? Is this over? Versus to your point, I had to learn with this kid, this is what works, or seems not even works, but what has the most, what produces
Impact.
the results and has the best impact as far as
Yeah.
the issue you're trying to address. You know what I mean? And so we learned a lot of, for me, I have to say for me, because there was still, you still had a bit of the authoritative. You were not as much authoritarian with the two of them. But to your point, I think it's also exactly what you said, Marche, which is that we were at a different point in life. You know what I'm saying? And when you're,
We could afford
particularly
name
when
brand
we-
cereal opposed to not.
well, I still
buy
shop at Aldi's. Don't play.
generic cereal be-
All
be
Dinas.
hidden.
All
Uh,
Dinas.
But I will say, Gabby and Dawson, I personally feel like they're my personal truth. Their real discipline came from me, Eric, Dom, and Jalen. Because y'all would tell them like, no, don't do X, Y, and Z. But like when it's time and y'all come down them stairs, yeah, play. Because that's not okay, or X, Y, and Z. So I feel like us being older siblings and being able to also teach them from our experiences helped as well. Permissive was another one. And I feel like both of you guys, especially as we got older, became people that we could call for help in dangerous situations. Now, Dad was more street life dangerous situations. Mom was more school, financial.
If you don't know how to
dangerous
do
situations.
fractions, she got you paid.
No, but real life. Like, I'm like,
But that's
she's
the balance.
analytical.
Yeah.
So it's business, school, work. We went to her for those things because it's like, okay, what do I do with this? Mom holds a lot of information in her brain. Dad, you hold a lot of information in your brain on book smarts and street smarts, but we come to you for street smarts because you taught us groundwork, how to present ourselves in public, how to, yes ma'am, yes sir, yes, no sir, no ma'am, whatever. Like you taught us that. You did too. But Dad was more Bob the Builder. You're more Susie Homemaker. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Bob and Susie.
I'm gonna
Okay.
tell Susan. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It does. Because I was giving you guys, and I'll say this carefully, but I was allowing you guys to speak two languages, English and Ebonics.
Yeah.
You have to be able to go into a
Code
bank.
switch.
Yeah, code switch. You have to be able to go into a bank and speak, be articulate, and speak to a banker or speak to, a financial advisor to get what you're after. But then when you hit the block, they're like, what's up, cuz?
Yeah.
You have to be able to do that to survive.
Dad was
In our
definitely
community,
like
in our culture.
a visual teacher. Dad was definitely a visual teacher.
I like that because now working with my kids, I'm like, watch this. Because when my court administrator comes down, I talk to her, how she's normally talked to, and then when she leaves, I'm talking to the kids, like you say, in Ebonics. So
Yeah.
definitely it helped a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being able to do that. Okay, so that brings me to my next thing. So
Like you said another go.
me and Mom went to a conference recently.
Mom and I.
The
Mom and them.
hosts,
Mom and
the elitist.
Mom and them. Mom and them.
We went to a conference recently, and we learned 2 terms from this conference. The 2 terms are biofog and step vision. The definition of biofog, it means you have a deep connection with your biological children. So when they do things, you brush it off or you take it as that's just them. Step vision, you are not as deeply connected with your step bonus children, and you're more inclined to recognize and address their shortcomings up front. So for an example, you tell your biological child, put your socks away for 3 days in a row, but it's like, okay, that's just them. They'll put the socks up eventually. Your bonus child, you're like, put the socks up 3 days in a row, and it's like, okay, this is my 3rd day telling you this is a problem for me, right? So, do you think you've experienced this in our household at all?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think I'll start with that. I think when it came to us not listening to you, Eric and myself, you're like, hee hee ha ha. But then when Jalen instantly didn't listen, it was like 0 to 5,000. And you just, why aren't you listening? Woo 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 woo, and y'all will butt heads a lot. So I saw that constantly, and again, being the golden child, I'm like, ooh, I can't do that. You feel me? So, but no, I definitely saw that because it was like always instantaneously. But then I feel like you guys trauma bonded a lot. You guys were able to sit down and have those more in-depth conversations. So he could see where you're coming from probably like 2 or 3 weeks later. Probably because Mom was like, hey, you got to straighten this up. But yeah, definitely saw that, man. It was always, Jalen did something, you were on his heels. And I felt like Eric and I got the availability to make those mistakes, to not listen. And then just, you're like, all right, you'll smack us on the hand and be like, all right, get on. But yeah, it was tough seeing that sometimes because I saw Jalen, from my perspective, like struggle with like, dang, he may not like me as much. And so, it was just, it was tough seeing that. But, and then with Mom, yeah. When Jalen, I feel like Jalen couldn't do any wrong sometimes. And then when it came to Eric, Jayla, and you're like, I just felt like you were on us a lot more about certain things. And so primarily with school, I felt like, dang, I can't miss one assignment and she won't get on me, but Jalen's, doing certain things and it's cool. You feel me?
I was on all of y'all. Y'all had individual school meetings.
Yeah.
It was never a group ordeal. And I can also say that from my perspective, I was trying to, doesn't make it right, but my reality, in fact, at that time was because I saw him being treated differently by your dad, I kept trying to make up for that. And I didn't know how to do that correctly. I didn't know how to make up for, because it was very clear to me as well, but you to this day, you have still no. Listen,
that's not the case.
No. What I'm saying, to this day, you will. I don't know that you have not readily, in my opinion, it maybe now this day, but up until till very recently, I feel like you still thought you didn't treat Jalen different. And to me and everybody else, you did. It was very, very, very apparent. And I understand reasoning why. So to Dominic, because you and I have talked about this some, and you and him have talked about it. You and Jalen have talked about it. To your point, Dom, as far as one, I think baseline, let's just state this, that learning those terms with the conference we were at and learning biofog and step vision, it actually was a breath of fresh air to me to have a word, to have a name for it, right? And to understand it's going to happen. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It is a natural, innate thing. And the reason why we're sharing this with everybody is so that people can hear it and you can do better. Because if you know better, then choose to do better, right? And so sit down and talk about it and then put some ground rules in place. We didn't do that. We didn't do that. And so to your point, Dom, and it really is interesting being able to sit here with y'all, and y'all are grown adults, and to hear your perspective, because in our own brains, you think your truth was everybody's reality, and it's just not. Yeah. Right? Because I really felt that I treated each of y'all equally when it came to, I was on everybody's heels for school. I was on Jalen's heels for school. And so I think that because there's preconceived, or not even, it's not a notion. It was the reality that y'all knew, okay, I gave birth to Jalen. I didn't give birth to y'all. Right? And so innately that bio connection, that bond that we had, layered with the fact that I struggled a lot with what was going on from the perspective of seeing him be treated with step vision by your dad on a very constant, regular basis. And I would try to make up for it, period. Doesn't mean it was the right thing to do, but I can tell you that. But when it came to school, I told all of y'all, it's 6 of y'all. Ain't nobody got six kids, college money, deep pockets around this joint, right? And so but it's very interesting that you felt that from on that particular angle that I was softer on Jalen, because honestly, I was checking all y'all. I don't know if y'all remember, I used to be at the computer in the kitchen.
Yeah, I remember.
I was checking everybody's, who's missing homework, who's got this, who's got that.
That one fateful day, but we won't talk about that. Never mind.
Let's talk about it.
I'm like, what day? What are you talking about?